fam, Coach Sam with Strong Gents Coaching, and today we're talking intermittent fasting and why it may not be the best option for you. Intermittent fasting is a huge topic in the past 5 years. It kind of blew up. It's always been around. People have fasted and intermittent fasted forever. I mean, fasting is in every major religion. It's something that people really take serious at certain times during the year, depending on their religion. And then it kind of got into this method of, we'll say, medicine and diet approaching for losing weight, so on and so forth. But there's a lot of claims about intermittent fasting. And although it does have a lot of benefits, some of those claims are it's a far stretch for some claims, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to see if you're someone who should be using intermittent fasting or if you're someone who should not be using intermittent fasting. Now, why listen to me on this topic? Well, I'll tell you why, because I did intermittent fasting for 3 years straight. I did multiple different windows. So what is intermittent fasting, right? Intermittent fasting is the conscious effort that you put upon yourself to restrict the time that you eat during the day. So you allot yourself a certain amount of hours to eat. The remaining hours you are fasting, you are not eating. For myself, I've done the basic 16-8, where you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, you start eating 12 o'clock next day in the afternoon. I've reversed that, so I stop eating earlier in the afternoon and start earlier in the morning. I've done 24, 48-hour fast, 3-day fast, so on and so forth. I like experimenting with myself. I like taking the stuff that I read and I learn, and I like applying it to my life so that I can help clients with my experience. And what I've learned with working with people for 10 years and applying intermittent fasting with people who come in and they're like, I'm doing this fasting thing. And I'm like, okay, well, keep me updated and I'll give you some suggestions as well, is that there are some people who do not do good with intermittent fasting at all. These people are the anxious people, the really wired, neurotic, anxious people. You guys should not be doing intermittent fasting. It drags this stress period on in the morning way longer than it needs to be. Most of the people out there who are just wired and they're anxious, and they wake up anxious in the morning and they drink caffeine, which makes them more anxious. Okay, caffeine is a stimulant that makes you more anxious, and you're just wired and there's no food in your system, so then you get more irritable because you're hungry, your body's lacking resources, and by the time the afternoon comes, you might have a full-blown anxiety attack, or you snap, or you just shut down because you're not giving your body what it needs. You're doing the exact opposite. You're waking up in the morning as an anxious person already, you're feeding it caffeine, and you're gonna get your adrenaline running throughout the day. You're probably stressed, and you're gonna hit a wall, or you're gonna freak out in the middle of the day. Everybody who had an anxious personality that tried intermittent fasting with me, or like that I've worked with who tried intermittent fasting, didn't have the greatest experience. They had a better experience when they ate breakfast in the morning, a breakfast full of protein and fats and some complex carbohydrates, more like an oatmeal or a potato. And then they stopped eating earlier at night, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and they kept that cycle. They did way better that way. So intermittent fasting is not a set in stone schedule. It's not a set in stone system. The rules can be bent. The rules can be broken. There's no perfect way to do it. You can experiment with yourself. But if you're an anxious type, the worst thing to do is go throughout the morning without having food in your system. Also, without having food in your system, pounding down coffee after coffee after coffee. And some people are smoking cigarettes or doing the vapes, and you're just adding to this stressful morning, and you're already the anxious type. It is a disaster. So if you are someone like that, and you're already wired and anxious, and I'm the stressful, high energy, stressful type, eat a big breakfast high in proteins and fats. Don't do intermittent fasting in the morning. Reduce your coffee intake, reduce the nicotine intake, and stop eating a little earlier in the evening if you want some of the benefits of a restricted feeding window. And there are some things that come along with that. For example, the less you eat, the less digestive problems you may have. For example, for me, I have what's called Ehlers-Danlos. It does affect the gut in some ways. And for a while, I was dealing with a really bad gut, and what helped a great amount was fasting. Issue is I'm more of a high-strung guy in the morning, so I had to reverse it. So I would eat a big breakfast high in protein and fats, and I'd stop eating around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're someone who wants to use fasting but is anxious, just flip the script, baby. That's it. That's all you got to do. Take this information, apply it to your life. Let me know how it goes. And again, intermittent fasting is a tool. It's not something that you have to use, but if you want to try it, it does help people lose weight to an extent. If you're reducing your calories by restricting the amount of time that you eat, it does help with digestive issues, like I just stated, because there's not a lot of food coming through your system all at one time. It's not that you're constantly sending stuff through your intestines. You're giving your body some time to flush out the intestines, and it does help. I promise you that it does help. So there are some benefits to it besides just the weight loss that you see people striving to get from intermittent fasting, but there are other benefits to it as well. Also, gaining discipline. If you can discipline yourself to stick to a schedule, that's awesome. That's a win in life. Being more disciplined is a win in life. So use this information. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions and you would like coaching or anything like that, just send us a DM, send us an email to stronggentscoaching@gmail.com. Comment, like, and share this video with your friends. Until next time, peace.